Welcome back to the Right to Bear Farms YouTube channel. I'm here with my name is Ed, and I'm here with Jerome.
That's me.
From the Netherlands. And basically, we've been talking a lot about collaborating on this channel, and I've been looking for someone for a long time who takes it and me seriously. And Jerome is one of the rare people who seems to do that. So I'm going to let him fire away questions at me relating to what we're going to be doing and what we are already doing and the progress we made so far about the off-grid community, physical community we're building here in Romania. And if you're interested in what we're talking about or you like the sound of what we're doing, please get in touch in the comments below. And from now on, we'll do our best to keep this channel updated far more frequently. Anyway, Jerome, I'll let you carry on, fire away.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Let's see what I can do. Let's see how it goes. I'm really curious. So Ed, can you give me a little explanation? Who are we?
Okay, what is this channel about and what's my project about? So, exactly. Well, the channel is going to be about the project and is already about the project. And the project is a physical and online community of like-minded individuals. So to expand on that a bit, that means anybody who's looking to leave the Western world and move to somewhere like Romania, in other words, somewhere more free and relaxed and with beautiful nature, low taxation, low, safe, wild and beautiful countryside, all these kind of things. But you just have to go on YouTube and search for Romania countryside to see what it's like here. It's truly beautiful. But it's also a great place to do business. So anybody that is interested in getting out of the Western world now, I'm trying to find a handful of people to build this physical community so we can collaborate on whatever businesses we decide we want to do, but with a particular focus on growing our own food, living off grid, and automating as much of that as possible. So my perfect situation would be to find some agricultural projects, animals or vegetables, crops, whatever, and automate those processes and then share all that information with how we make it work online and look to monetize that. So I've seen lots of videos of people doing farming and some automation stuff that's just starting to get interesting now. But I can see that being an explosion in personal automated systems. But what I found on YouTube is basically people making very cool things and not really telling you very much about how to do it yourself or to encourage people, because actually you can do quite a lot yourself. People are scared of technology because they've only been taught theoretical things at school. That we've done away with apprenticeships and stuff like that in the West. The only people teaching really useful things are employers who, out of desperation, have to teach the people they get out of school what they really should have been taught in school.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in this whole education thing and helping other people trying to get this going. And I really enjoy doing this. It's a lot of fun. I'd love to. I can't say I'm making a living out of it yet, but even if I didn't get rich out of it, I'd be pretty happy just making a decent living from it. And it looks totally doable. There's a lot of interest. There's a lot of kind of dreamers out there who, oh yeah, I'm going to move to another country and live off grid and blah, 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 and whatever. There's lots of people who are thinking about it. Few people actually do it, because when they start thinking about it, they realize what a mission it is. And then even less buy into this kind of concept of a community, because they think I'm talking about a commune, which I'm not. But the point is, I just want to be around a bunch of smart, like-minded, serious people who have good ethical values, turn up for meetings when they say they're going to turn up, do what they say to do, don't make promises that they can't keep their word. All things that were really old school values in my country before things started going horrifically wrong. So yeah, that's the basic idea. If you've got any any more specific questions, well, I know you have, because that was the whole point of the video.
Obviously. Yeah.
Far away with some of your questions.
Yeah, also interesting. So the way I interpret this community, because I'm new here, so maybe it's nice to give my kind of view on this, because it might be a little bit from the view's perspective, like, what is this? We're hearing all this information. So essentially, as it comes across to me, is this community is a kind of holistic project that doesn't only want to live self-sufficiently, so being off-grid, like an off-grid homestead, or like you said, just a commune, but more of a community that there's all these different kinds of projects, and everyone has their own thing that they can do to it.
Can I just say something?
Of course.
So I think sort of a good way to describe this. If you imagine something like a city co-working space, have you ever been to one of those places?
No.
Okay, so you find in cities these kind of co-working spaces. So if you're working online, you can go and rent a desk and an internet connection, and there's a cafe and this kind of stuff, and you can go and work. And they're good places to network, because all these kind of online workers go to those places. And I'd like to build something kind of similar to that in the countryside, but with people living nearby. So I like to do some meaningful stuff in terms of building this automation.
Yeah.
I need like an electronics guy, a software guy, and some people with some practical engineering skills.
Yeah.
I've actually got those people nearby, but I need at least one person here to complement my skills, probably two. And which reminds me, actually, I found someone very interesting today who, we'll see how that goes. Maybe I've sold one of those people today.
Yeah.
Introduced to me by the guy that is helping with all the planning applications now.
Right.
Which this always happens. You find one good guy, and you find out all their friends are nice, decent people, and they know people.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you imagine like a co-working space, a business hub, this kind of thing, even just half a dozen smart people around who are serious, because it's probably a bit of a generalization, but I think many Romanians would agree with me. It's very hard to find people here who take anything seriously. I mean, I saw some great businesses here. Romanian was running really good businesses, but I struggle to work with Romanians because the mentality is so different. The management style is different, and I can work all day long with Americans and Brits. I struggle to find people here. I don't know why. I wish it wasn't the way, but it is what it is. So this is my solution. If I'm not going to move to England, not going to move to England, so maybe move some English people here.
Yeah, that plays a big role for sure. And also, like you already touched upon, the automated farming and automated security. And I guess you could see those as kind of the core projects we would need to finish first in this community, because there's a load of ideas, right? There's a lot that can be done.
Yeah, I mean, I've got north of 50 different serious ideas of how things that we can do, but there are some simple ones to start with.
Yeah,
relatively simple ones, like because of where my land here is, like I'm in a valley, and I've got two different levels that are about 12 meters apart, and I've got water down the bottom. We were thinking of making a small-scale pumped hydro system, for example. So we use solar power to pump the water uphill and use it to store energy and get the power back out as the water runs back down the hill. So this would be a miniature pumped hydro system. So the idea with a project like that is, first of all, we're going to introduce some fish into that, because when you're pumping water, you can aerate water and you can have flowing water. So we could have some trout or something like that. That would just be cool. It would be a cool thing to make videos about. But also we can play around with trying to get it efficient. We can sell the plans and I don't really want to just sell stuff outright. I think we just like people to subscribe and give us a monthly payment, and then they just get access to everything, whatever they want to use. And maybe we'll be giving some kind of support and answering questions. So when people get stuck with our stuff, like for that project, I'd want to be able to sell all the 3D printed plans and diagrams, and even the components if people wanted to buy them, like monetize the whole thing in that kind of way. I'm not sure how. I'm interested in getting a regular monthly income from helping producing content that genuinely helps people, because if you're trying to do something like this and you don't really know what you're doing and you're learning, one thing you can get stuck on, and if you can't find someone to pick up the phone to get an answer, you can get stuck. And so people are scared to get involved in doing these things themselves because they're worried about getting stuck and wasting all their effort up to that point, because they get to a point where they can't get any further. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I've surprised myself with some of the things I've managed to build on my own. And I've got to say, partially thanks to ChatGPT that now helps you with programming.
Definitely helps, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But does that answer your question?
Well, it answers a lot more questions that I didn't even ask yet. So there's a lot to cover. And okay, I'll try to keep slow because we need engineers, for example, for the Hydro project that you just talked about, and of course programmers. You can do a little bit on your own with ChatGPT.
Well, I can tell you who you need for that project. First of all, I need to get some more members involved in buying some of the land lots, because I need the money to go and spend on this stuff. So we need to get some land sold. In the next couple of weeks, I'll have much more clarity on the zoning and what we're going to be able to build and when. We've got land by the road here, which we can build on, I think, with just permits, which should be 6 months, something like that.
And what kind of prices would people be looking at if they want to buy land from you?
For land, currently if you get in before we do anything at all, it's €3 a metre.
Right. That's much cheaper than anywhere you can find the West, like I used to say.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, but I think it's the right price for this area. I mean, anyway, anybody that comes here, I don't want to get into retrospective arguments about the price. I will absolutely insist people go and do their own research locally and see what the prices are, because I've actually had some Romanians telling me that it's too cheap at that price, but I don't believe it is. I think it's a fair price. And it's enough for me to, I don't really want to have to sell any of my land. If I'd like to just sell a bit, get that money into these projects, get the income coming from this thing, and then not have to, be so dependent on selling off assets I'd rather not sell, because it's very difficult to find large pieces of land now in one piece in Romania. Really hard.
Yeah.
So,
but if they're all part of the community living on this land.
It's hard to do it at rational prices anyway. You can buy anything you want if you want to pay stupid prices.
Right, but you're willing to sell it, because people are going to be part of this project, this community. So it has a purpose.
Sure, of course.
Right. Yeah.
So if that would be what happens. Sell a bit more land, and then, for example, if we decide to do that hydro project, it needs some solar panels, an inverter, someone to build some steel framework and stuff, a pump, pipes, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
We need some. We'd start it on a small scale to prove the pump and the generator part of it, and then we just make the reservoir at the top bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Cool. I'm personally not very knowledgeable about it, so I can't ask any specific questions about that. Maybe people in the comments can ask you, and you can answer that.
Well, the thing with electronics and engineering is it really should be an absolute priority to teach this stuff at school. Young men should be taught engineering, electronics, programming.
I wasn't taught much in that topic.
No, and practical stuff. I mean, this is all the stuff that's of real use to you.
Yeah.
When I was at school, I remember discussing with my father apprenticeships in England. And they slowly got rid of these apprenticeships where you'd actually learn a real skill, and that's why you can get 100 grand a year as a plumber now. And if you've got a degree for some useless thing that isn't actually applicable to anything, you'll struggle to get a job.
Yeah, that's true. That's how it goes. I studied business. It still has some applications, but not on this specific thing, no.
With business studies are useful to a point, but they're general.
Yeah.
No business on this planet is something someone has built from reading a book.
No.
They might have got some guidance, but to get a business that really works, that people talk about competition.
Mm.
Competition is great for the planet and countries and whole societies. But if you've got a business that's working, the last thing you want is competition. That's just that everybody will say that.
Yeah. It's a simple truth.
So you obviously, if you've got a good idea, you're not smart if you're sharing that idea with everybody and introducing loads of competition into your own market. So this is kind of stuff that people will never talk about because it's contradictory to, the great idea that competition is good for everyone, which is why I agree with that. But that's not going to stop people trying to work out ways not to have competitors.
True.
But if you do it by being crafty, fair enough. If you do it by deliberately damaging other people's businesses, that's not so nice.
That's a different story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. And obviously, we also need people because we're also building things that will be part of kind of a more general off-grid community. So obviously, we need proper builders. We need people with farming knowledge and experience, also for setting up the automated farming projects. And for the security project, I think we also could use some drone enthusiasts and RC enthusiasts. What do you think about that?
The security stuff is an interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got various ideas about how to deal with security.
Do tell.
That's not just security of our location, but if we want to have, say, animals grazing a field 5 kilometers away and leave them unsupervised, we need a way of knowing if anybody comes near them. And I've got various technological solutions for that, and we want to start playing around with things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, systems to scare birds off, because, for example, if you look at these blueberries are a good crop, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen a blueberry plantation near me, and it's got these massive nets over it. It must have cost a fortune, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe there's not a better way to scare birds off than just or keep birds off than keep nets off them. But also I think those nets, I was thinking about this, they probably protect them from hail as well, which is ice in the what that is. It's like hard.
I know. Yeah.
You know what it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anything that could potentially be a cheaper solution and automate it. We've been looking into these kind of projects.
I've got an idea about security as well. I don't want to go into too much detail because it's stuff that I think is very commercial.
Fair enough.
But
you don't want competition yet.
Yeah, my idea is actually not just to secure the way I'm thinking is you don't want to just get notified when someone's stealing your shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to get notified, intercept them, deter them, video the whole process, and monetize the video.
So you get something out of it, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So I've got, I think I've got many ways to do that that I think will be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing it. Oh, talking of which, this guy that I found today, was recommended to me by the guy who's dealing with the planning.
Right.
I think he's kind of interested in getting involved in that project, but we'll see.
Okay.
But I've got the vehicle to like a little electric buggy vehicle to start with that's big enough to go over quite rough terrain, and I've got many of the components. Just don't have the time to spend on it because I'm too busy trying to recruit people onto this. Well, I'm not trying anymore. Successfully recruiting people into this project.
Yeah. So let's go into that topic next, because how is that going? How far is the project going so far? How far are we?
Okay, so I mean, how to measure that?
Yeah.
Let me get. I'm just going to get a document up here for myself. 1 second, please. So what I've got here is a list of what I'm calling mission focal points. So I'll run through them quickly, and then we'll go back through them one by one. So cash flow and income, better accounts, functions, filing and archive, a co-presenter, urban architect and building architect. There's a ballast extraction project and potential pond, more members and investors, and setting up the structure for that. some automation, farming operations, electronics engineering projects, more long and short content videos, and setting up this paid subscription model and starting to get people signed up. So I'll go through those things, not in that order, but I'll go through all of them.
Sure.
So the paid subscription model, I've got a handful of people already paying me monthly, and I'm rather than keep on signing people up, I wanted to really understand what it is they're paying for, why they're happy with that, what else we can do for them, and try and get a really good package that we can offer to people. Because there's two things I want to do. Is one, give people regular information, updates on everything about Romania, and that's of interest to anybody who wants to move here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think if you get that right, it's relatively easy for me to do it, because I've lived here 20 years and have a good network, and you know, I've got proven track record at surviving here 20 years and actually having a good life and making some decent money.
Mm-hmm.
And I can prove all that, you know, like once I know someone and I trust them, and I can show them the things that I did. I mean, when you came over here, you know, you saw, I think, quickly that I'm serious and achieved some things here.
For sure. Yeah.
So there's that paid subscription model. I want to start expanding on that, which is part of the point of bringing this channel to life again now. More long and short content videos. Well, the videos basically generate leads, you know, so the more videos you do, the better the content gets. There's a direct correlation. I've noticed this on my other channel. There's a direct correlation between the size of the channel and the quality of the content with the quality of the people that you get contacting you and
Mm-hmm.
registering. Like, as my channel's got bigger and over time, I've got better and better content. Like, I've got surgeons, doctors, judges, this kind of stuff, you know, lawyers, people that have contacted me from Romania and other countries. So how many of those are going to turn into community members? I don't know. You know, this is, when people have a great deal of money, you know, in the millions, this kind of thing's not so interesting because they've got enough money to do something themselves, you know. But when people are have got some, you know, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands, then this is a very interesting proposition, because it's one thing to have a house. It's a whole different thing to have a nice, friendly community of people you can trust around you. Because a house, if things get worse, which they could do, you know, a house isn't going to be much use to you. Like, reliable people are, you know, loyal, reliable, trustworthy people who are on the same page, that you know already, that you don't have to go and, you know, find in a panic.
Well, in that
So
sense,
anyway,
it could also make sense for people with millions, because, you know, you might be able to set up something on your own, but you would still be on your own. That's also
sure,
something.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the problem is, of course, if you are on your own, you've got many options, right? But the problem is, most people aren't on their own. They've got family, friends, children. You know, children make you, if you're a couple and you've got children make you very vulnerable.
True.
Because they're something that are easily targeted.
Mm-hmm.
And you can easily be coerced by having your children attacked in one way or another. Anyway, so more that was about the video content. The better the content, the better the leads.
Yeah.
The automation projects we've talked about. Like, I just want to get something going. I think probably this security rover is going to be the first thing.
Yeah.
But I've got other things. I've got I think it's in here. Yeah. So this is the kind of thing. This is I've got a friend in America who we were working on this. Where's the camera there? This is a little. It's a Litecoin hardware wallet, a custom one that has a very specific purpose. And I developed this idea with this friend of mine in America who actually built that, designed it, programmed it, and prototyped it. And we did it for very little money, some hundreds of dollars, you know. Now, I can't find a programmer to spend a day on something in Romania without them trying to charge me $500, right? This guy did this because he believes in what we're doing. Plus, we're aligned completely politically, so he knows we're what everybody's facing, and he's very interested in what we're doing and wants to be part of it. So, you know, the people exist. You just need to find them. They're 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 5,000, not 1 in 10 like you wish they were. So that was the automation. More members and investors. Well, of course, yeah, we want more of those, but that comes from the videos and the content quality. An urban architect and building architect. So in relation to the planning and zoning, I ran around in circles for about 6 or 7 months just with different people. I don't want to blame them, really. It would be unfair to say, well, they were just crap and didn't know what they were doing, whatever. I don't think that was the case. I think it was just communications issues. You know, the Western investors or members want to have almost perfect transparency and clarity on what's going to happen and when, and see you delivering what you're promising. And I'm trying to get people to guarantee that to me here, and they can't guarantee shit. You know, they're like, you know, maybe it'll happen in a year, maybe it'll happen 2 years. So I thought, well, this isn't good enough. Either I figure out how to do this myself, or find out a better approach, and or we do it somewhere else in Romania. Something interesting about Romania on that point is many internal political systems, like the mayoralties, the county councils, and that, it's all quite well decentralized. So if you don't make progress in one area, you can move to another area where the people will be much more amenable. You know,
That's a plus.
You're not stuck. Like, I very much want to build what I'm building here, right? But I could just sell the whole property, take the money, and do this whole project in another part of Romania, which is what I would do if it comes to it. But I'm a long way from that yet, because I think I can make it work here, right? So that's something to consider. Anyway, I came to the conclusion that I need someone local to help me with everything, who's got the time to do it and wants to be part of the project. So it took me quite a while to find that guy. I found that guy. We've been working together for some months now. He found me the electronics guy, by the way, so that was good. And he's found us another urban architect, which we'll meet next week. And basically, I understand the process now for doing the zoning. There's some technical stuff we need to get answers to, but I'm no longer concerned about being able to do it. It's just how long it's going to take. I think between 1 and 2 years from the day. Well, we've started now, so from 1 and 2 years from today. And I think in the coming 1 or 2 months, we'll have much more clarity on the process and exactly how long it's going to take and what we can build. Plus, we could I'm very sure we can build on the land next to the road here, because I've got a long frontage to the road on my property. And on much of that front part, I think we can build already. So that just requires permits. So that we could maybe get going in 6 months.
And now, just to clarify, sorry to interrupt, but just to clarify,
one more thing.
Okay.
Yeah, if people want to come and live here in a caravan or a tiny house or something like that, anything portable within reason, that can be done easily. You know, no, if we have 2 or 3 people living here in tiny houses, nobody's going to care. If we cover the whole property with them, so it looks like a caravan site, it's going to be a problem. But no one's going to complain about me having a couple of people living in my garden in caravans for a while we figure out all this out.
No, it's big.
You know, from what I saw, they want this kind of development going on locally. So.
Yeah, but also it's a big piece of land. People probably wouldn't even see it. So easy. Yeah, I wanted to clarify, because you were saying in 1 to 2 years. What would happen in 1 to 2 years? I didn't really get it.
Okay, so to build on the land, we need to change the land from basically a kind of combination. So all land here is classed in different types, right?
Yes.
So on my, for the sake of argument, I'll simplify on my land. On my land, I've got some orchard, I've got some woodland, and I've got some grazing land, right? To build on that, we need to change it to some areas of it to building land, and we need to make a zone plan. So we need to show where the roads are going to go, where the utilities are going to go, this kind of stuff. That plan is called a zone plan, or in Romanian a plan, urban zonal or something, and a PUZ, P-U-Z.
Mm-hmm.
We need to make that. Now that's a technical process that requires urban, what's called an urban architect.
Yeah.
That's not any architect. That's an architect with an urbanization certificate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've been through a few of those that already that we couldn't seem to work with, because like they didn't get that I'm not going to get any money unless I'm transparent, and they didn't want to be transparent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you either be transparent and you tell us what's going on, so I can tell. Like I'm not going to show investors or members something that I'm not absolutely confident can be delivered.
Yeah.
Because like I care about my reputation, right?
Mm-hmm.
These architects or lawyers or whatever might not, but I care about mine. So I said to them, you need to tell me what the steps are, and it needs to be transparent. And there's too much vague stuff, And this happened 2 or 3 times, and then at some point I just got fed up with it. I started researching it myself, and when you actually look at the laws and the process, it makes sense. The problem wasn't the laws or the process. The problems was these so-called professionals trying to manipulate the process to get as much money up front and disincentivize themselves in doing so to finishing the thing and getting it done as quickly as possible, So like I want to have an incentive that, that they're incentivized to get it finished quickly, properly, and as I want it done, right?
Yeah.
And because that's what the customers want or the members want, And I know what people want. They've
We
all
want
told
clarity.
me kind of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So in that sense.
So now I've got that. I've got someone local who's helping provide continuity with the local mayoralty and the county council. So that person, we can ask them about the status of anything at any time. And we've got this urban architect who's a technical guy, which we need because the applications to the mayoralty, they have to be done by our urban architect. It needs to be stamped, even if you're capable of doing it, because you can't because you don't have a license to do it, right?
Yeah.
So we've got this guy, which we're happy with. The best case will be he's great and everything starts moving. The worst case will be we have to go and find another urban architect.
Yeah. And in the best case scenario, what will be the earliest then that people which are interested in buying land and building, what will be the earliest dates or time frame that they could start building on land? What do you think?
If we're talking about building by the road, that could be, we could start in 6 to 12 months.
Okay.
Right.
And on the land itself? So
on the land itself, 12 to 24 months. But I'd rather answer that in a couple of weeks when we've met with this urban architect, because we could get in a loop of going through lots of urban architects that could take 2 or 3 weeks at a time. Because this is technical stuff, and you don't really know till you go and see someone, you talk to them. They can say they can make all the right noises. They can come across as very, very personable and friendly and helpful.
Yeah.
And then you walk out of the meeting, you think, oh, that went really well, great. And then 2 days later or a week later, when you expect an update or you call them, they've forgotten about you. I really have had experiences like that here. Like completely incomprehensible to me. People I've gone, looked in the eye, they said they're going to do something, we've agreed something, and then a week later it's like we haven't had the conversation.
Yeah. So maybe they expect something more. Or...
If any Romanians are watching this, you will see in the comments, most will agree with me with this kind of behaviour.
We'll see. That'll be interesting to see. Yeah. Okay. A little bit about the subscriptions, because you've briefly touched upon it. We want to.
Can I mention the last 3 things, because there was a list.
Of course. Yeah.
So, a co-presenter. I want to find a co-presenter, so someone who who speaks very good English and Romanian, who has a positive attitude and will listen to what I say, translate for me properly. This is actually, someone needs to be able to do it the way that I want, again, because what happens is if people aren't good at interpreting, they start having the conversation for you, you know? So I start off a conversation with someone interpreting, and then that ends up in a conversation between the interpreter and the person, rather than constantly translating and translating back. I mean, I can vaguely understand Romanian, I can speak a bit, but if you want to have any kind of in-depth conversation, you need someone who speaks the language perfectly and English perfectly, and they're hard to find. So I want to find a co-presenter, or at least a decent interpreter with a nice attitude, who's into what we're doing, you know, who believes in it. So working on that. Accounts, filing and archive, all that kind of, we need to get our admin better sorted, because until I was doing this, I've had a very low intensity admin system, like a bare bones admin system for just the stuff I need. But now I think there's a big opportunity to offer this kind of things to people as a service. I've got a meeting with a decent accountant next week. I've already got my own accountant, but I've got a meeting with a accountant that does more commercial stuff, and I'm going to talk to them about providing these services to members, you know, because if you want to move here, one of the easy ways to do it is to set up a company, get your residency permit, you need an address to put the company and the residency permit on, and we can offer all that as a service, I think, like for a subscription.
Yeah.
And do things like monitor the company to make sure that there's no issues with it, because you can have issues because they change the laws and they change the budget and each year, and sometimes you have to make modifications to the constitution or the directors' contracts or whatever, because the banks demand stuff and all that stuff. Someone needs to keep an eye on it. But it's much better to have one person focused on doing that for lots of companies than expecting people to do it themselves with all sorts of different accountants and different things, you know. I think it's great potential if it's automated properly, as best as possible with decent software. There's a great potential to offer that as a service. And the last point was cash flow and income. So, well, this whole thing of setting up this subscription thing is about cash flow and selling some land. You know, my cash flow isn't as good as I'd like. I mean, I'm not too concerned about it, but to start risking money on things like these electronics projects, I need to get some more money in.
Right.
So that's it. That's it for now.
So that's what we're at right now in all the importance, in all the steps of importance for setting up this community and making it work. Pretty much. Right. Cool. So yeah, you briefly touched upon the subscriptions, and also you've mentioned one example of what we could offer. We could help with setting up a residency permit for people. Maybe automate it.
I've got another list here. Let me run through quickly.
Sure, go through your other list.
things we can offer, right?
Yeah.
So, because this might give you some ideas to ask in more depth. So, this is a straight list of things we can offer. We can set up companies, right?
Yeah.
We can provide a property and set up the person's residency permit on the basis of this company. If they ultimately take a property where we are, like on part of this community, to have their company registered here, because we're thinking about offering this, they can pay the land off over some period. The building they'd have to pay for, but the land, we can give them some terms on that. We can provide the accountancy service. So I'm thinking a flat fee for minimum yearly accountancy, like the minimum required to keep the company ticking over, and then maybe a fee per transaction for anything else they want to do with it. We can monitor the health of the company, make sure that it's updated, the kind of thing I was talking about, essential company housekeeping work. We can find people houses near us, near the community. If they don't want to be in the community, we can find them a house nearby so they can be near us. You know, I've had people ask about that. Or an apartment in a nearby town, or a room that they can rent, you know.
Yeah.
we can set up their residency and maintain that as well, so they get a reminder when it needs to be done, and any changes in the law or stuff they need to know about. That happens sometimes. House finding, I said, storage units I thought might be an interesting thing. People who want to move here and want some storage space that's dry and clean until they get here, so they can start moving stuff out here. That I thought we could do. And signing for packages as well. You know, if people want to have a business address, they want to buy stuff, get it delivered, put it into storage. You know, these I think are useful services for people that no one provides that I know about. I mean, you can get storage, but having someone to sign for packages and stick it in the storage for you, you know, and being able to log in and see your stuff on camera and that kind of thing.
That's a different story.
I think those things are kind of cool services to offer. So we'll try and provide whatever anybody asks for. You know, if there's enough people asking for it, we'll try and do it. Like, I'm a great believer in, you know, doing what the customers actually want. So
do reach out to us and tell us what you need, and perhaps we can actually make it work.
Yeah, that's a good point. So anybody watching, if you like what we're talking about, you like the sound of this community, please get in contact. You might underestimate your own abilities. I've been contacted by a lot of people. It's kind of sad, really. You know, some of the nicest people who are really skilled and potentially really useful just lack the confidence and self-belief, because the situation in the West has got so bad. They've been so demoralized by so much stupid shit going on, you know, that they're scared to take any risk at all or try anything. But do reach out, you know, if you're interested and you don't think you're going to be useful or can be useful in some way or can fit in some way, ask first. Don't just write yourself off. Because I had some very interesting people that contacted me who were very skeptical about their own abilities, you know, because people with practical abilities are mocked now. Farmers and manual workers, these people are with actual abilities to look after themselves. These kind of jobs are mocked, you know.
Yeah, and these are exactly what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do reach out, and also feel free to give us feedback. This is just a first video, long-form video that we've made. So there's probably a lot we can improve.
Yeah, just right. If you want to get it, reach out and get in contact directly. Just comment below the video.
Yeah.
And request some contact details, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah. I think we've covered about all we want to cover. So.
Yeah. Okay, so if you made it to this part of the video, right to the end, congratulations, well done. You get bonus points for that, and keep checking on the channel, and we'll be back soon.
Yeah, keep you updated. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye for now.
Bye.